Hello and welcome back to the series of tutorials on logical reasoning. I am Abhishek and we are going to discuss a new problem today. Though you may find the problem to be a bit similar to the ones I discussed earlier, the approach I would take to solve this one would be totally different. So let's go to the question now. The question here talks about 5 families of 3 persons each: a man, his wife, and their child. So that's 15 persons in all. The information is given in the form of 7 statements, using which we would try to make a table that lists the 5 families correctly. Now you should pause the video at this stage, read the problem carefully, and try to solve it on your own. In fact, I would recommend downloading this question from our website. Take a printout, attempt the question, and keep the hard copy in front of yourself while viewing the solution. Let's proceed with trying to solve the problem now. We first make a table with 5 rows and 3 columns. The first column would have the name of a man, the second column would have the name of his wife, and the third the name of their child. Let's first fill this up with the names of the 5 men. Having done this, let's try to quickly put some data in the table using direct affirmative statements. Statement 4 reads that Chetan is the husband of Brinda. So let's put Brinda's name in the cell adjacent to Chetan. Look at statement 6 now and the highlighted row. Since Barun is the father of Chris, it's obvious that the child cell in Barun's row would be filled by Chris. There is no other piece of data that can be filled in this table directly and concretely without making multiple cases. So we will proceed slightly differently here. We will try making blocks of information using the given statements and put them beside the table. What it does is that the data becomes easier to comprehend whenever you have to use multiple statements together. Let's see how it works. Look at statement 3. It reads that Ketki is the mother of Kapol. Now, though this is an affirmative statement, it cannot be placed in the table directly because neither of the two persons mentioned in the statement, Ketki or Kapol, has appeared in the table yet. So there are multiple possibilities. What we do is put this information in the form of a mother-child block and place it just under the table where it aligns with the structure of the table. What it tells us is that this is a concrete piece of information that can be used later in conjunction with other relevant statements to fill data in the table. I hope this is understood. Look at statement 7 now. It again is a very similar one which reads that Raman's mother is Paula. So we make another mother-child block with Paula and Raman and place it just under the previous block. Now let's look at statement 2. It's not a direct statement, but with the work we have already done, this should give us a concrete block. Concentrate on Dave. Can we say that Brinda, Garima, Ketki or Paula, none of the 4 can be his mother? Yes, of course. So what we can infer is that the 5th lady, Linda, has to be Dave's mother, and it becomes yet another mother-child block, and we place it under the previous 2 blocks. Once we are done with making these 3 blocks of data, we just need to plug them in at the right place in the table. As we can see here, there are 3 persons: Akash, Dheeraj and Gaurav, beside whose names these 3 blocks need to be adjusted. Which one goes where is something for which we'll use the other statements given in the question. Let's look at statement 1. It says that Gaurav isn't married to Ketki. So we can safely say that the Ketki Kapol block wouldn't fit beside Gaurav. Also, it tells us that Gaurav is not the father of Dave. So we can rule out the Linda Dave block as well for Gaurav. Hence we are left with just one, that's the Paula Raman block to fit into the 2 cells next to Gaurav. Next we look at statement 5, which says that Akash is not married to Linda, which rules out the Linda Dave block for the 2 cells beside Akash. And the only possibility left in that case would be the Ketki Kapol block. So Akash is married to Ketki and is the father of Kapol. Now we can see that the only mother-child block left with us is Linda Dave, and the only person left with which it can fit is Dheeraj. So there is no other choice but to place it beside Dheeraj's name. Moving forward, we can see that the only cell left in the wife column, the highlighted one, has to be filled with Garima since she is the only lady whose name is yet to be filled in the table. Similarly, the only cell left in the child column, highlighted now, has to be filled with Nazar. There is no other choice left with us. This completes our solution to the problem. This problem required us to identify and separate blocks of information that could later be placed appropriately in the table. Using this approach, we are spared the trouble of making multiple cases, which may make solving a problem seem quite tedious and messy. Also, making multiple cases is especially difficult during an exam because of the time and space constraint. I would want to mention again that every logic puzzle can be solved in multiple ways, and that this was not the only way this problem could have been solved. So make yourself comfortable with all such techniques and try using them in the problems you attempt henceforth. You would gradually develop the knack of identifying what works where. See you next time.